Hey there, Variety here. Welcome to today's video in which I'm going to be doing a full raid guide on the archdruid epic fight in Tarisland. So recently I've only been showing you the differences between the elite mode and the epic mode, but for this particular video I'm going to go more in depth and show each of the abilities and talk about them. There are two main reasons why. The druid is the final boss in this set of raids, so I want to show him a little bit of respect. And the second part is that he was difficult. He was very, very difficult. Even with the nerf that's going to come out soon, he's going to be very rough. So I'm going to put a lot more effort into this one. If you don't need an explanation on the new mechanics, as always, you can skip to the end and just watch the fight. But if you don't truly understand the mechanics, I would strongly suggest you familiarize yourself with them because it really was a difficult boss. Okay, so let's move to the part where I talk about the abilities. So he always uses the first same abilities. So it's going to be Bear Claw. Just face it away from your raids. Pretty simple. Next up, it's going to be the Interruptible Heal. If you don't interrupt it, he heals, I believe, 15% HP, which you need to make sure doesn't happen. Next up, Wild Roar. It's AoE damage. Then he's going to do Add and Ghosts. So the adds basically just make sure they die. Whatever you do, you can use stuns and pushbacks to help. The 4 ghosts are going to summon a green circle, so you need to make sure you're inside the green circle. And usually you have to do this mechanic at the same time. Next up is Root Entangle. It's really easy. Just use Break Free or have the healer dispel it. So here is one of the new mechanics. It's called Distorted Shadow. Basically, what's going to happen is he gets more powerful by drawing power from the boss. Someone needs to be standing inside the green circle with him, so you're absorbing the power from him. If you're not standing inside, every tick, which I believe is 5 seconds, he gets 10% stronger. Once the timer runs out, he's going to spawn and just run at the tank. I'm not sure why, but he doesn't seem to go for anybody else, even if you don't taunt him. So all you need to do as a tank is just, pop a cooldown and kill it as fast as possible, because if it has some stacks, it'll do quite a bit of damage. So this is Decaying Explosion. Basically, send half your people down into the portal downstairs and take care of the mechanic. It's not really on the top side to deal with this. You just saw him use Decaying Ground, which is that green stuff over there. He'll keep doing it over the fight, and at some point, it eventually becomes a DPS check. So here's the ad from earlier. It finally spawned. So I have to deal with the ad. I need to stun these smaller ads, and I need to interrupt the boss all at the same time. You also need to keep the boss away from the green stuff because he's going to summon the 4 phantoms again. So if your DPS isn't enough, you'll have the ad plus the ads plus the 4 phantoms, and you'll be dealing with the potential ground if you don't move the boss. So he's going to use Decaying Explosion again, so the second party needs to go in. Basically, you run over to the big ad and taunt him as fast as possible and pull him away from the raid team. You're going to be getting stacks here. See that blue stack on the right-hand side? That's happening because we're downstairs. Once you kill the big decaying monstrosity, you pick an item up off the ground and it'll get rid of your stacks. But make sure you don't pick it up too early because those stacks are permanent and you want to wipe them out after the decaying monstrosity is dead. After you destroyed the decaying monstrosity, you're going to see these little shadows and ads. So you just saw the orb get picked up. So we're going to stop the ads and stop the shadows. You can stun them and slow them and whatever else. You absolutely have to prevent any of these things from getting to the heart. While you're stopping these ads, the healer is using solo heals on the heart. The healers tell me that AoE heals don't work, so make sure you target the heart and heal the heart up. After you've got the heart up enough, or you've just in here for long enough, it's going to push you back upstairs, and then the other party is going to come down. So as you come back upstairs as party 1, I'm going to pull the boss, and the ad, as you can see there, was getting weakened. It doesn't overly matter on normal epic mode if you get some extra stacks. Here, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to use my biggest cooldown, and he really won't do much to me. But on challenge, it will be crucial that you make sure he doesn't get any stacks. So here we go. He's going to use his damage. I usually use my inscription on the paladin to gain 50 to 60,000 shield pretty quickly to stop myself dying whenever the ad comes over. So now we're going into the last phase. There's a lot going on here, so I'm going to do a bit of freezing and talk about what's going on. But basically, all 10 members are going to be up the top now because the heart's been healed, and now we're going to fight him as a 10-man. Okay. So there's a lot going on here, but I'll do my best. Basically, there are going to be two bosses at the back. One's called the Distorted Mind and one's called the Conscious Will. Basically, if the Distorted Mind kills the other ad, you get wiped. So you cannot allow your ad to die. You've probably seen a Chinese speedrun video in which they ignore it. And after the nerf, so the 20% nerf and the 7% HP buff, or nerf, you may be able to ignore them. But for us, what we had to do is that we would have to wait for the Distorted Mind to cast a shield. We would have to DPS the shield and break it, and it was not easy to break. And then you have to interrupt after the shield was broken. The tooltip was a little bit confusing. We couldn't figure out if you had to only break the shield or interrupt. We broke the shield and had players interrupt it to make sure. If you don't do this, the Distorted Mind is going to hit the other ad for a huge amount of damage, and it's going to die before you can clear the raid, and it's going to wipe you out. So really, the only thing you need to pay attention to in the two ads up at the back is shield, get rid of the shield, and make sure he doesn't cast. The other big mechanic you need to worry about here is going to be the shield mechanic. He's going to put it in the middle of the room, and it's going to be a total of 4 of them. You just need to stand inside when he does the big AoE. On top of that, it's just basically a bunch of ads and a cleave. So he's going to use a cleave. It's going to be that claw you saw earlier. He's going to cleave half the raid. You need to make sure people are on the right side. If they get cleaved, they're in trouble. So I'll play through a little bit of it so you can see what happens with the ads. Okay, so I'm running over to the ad here. Remember, this is our first clear, so it's not exactly clean. I keep it near the ad because I want people to be able to reach the archdruid's minion. So there's the bear claw. That's probably the biggest thing you need to watch out for aside from the shield. Healing spell, you need to interrupt that. In come the ads, just kill the ads, and then you got to watch out for the shield. We only broke the first shield and we bursted through the boss, so we didn't have to do it a second time. So here are going to be the phantoms. See the shield? People are going to DPS it. It was a little bit confusing here as to whether we broke the shield or interrupted it. So of course there's a couple of wipes. We broke the shield down. We all hit interrupt to make sure that it actually got interrupted. Then we run into the shield in the middle and then we burn him down. At this point, we're just basically standing in the AoE, avoiding the cleave and killing the ads until the boss is dead.
Made a mistake last night. Maybe I can make it right. Sit down closer, baby. We can talk about it. No need to be mad. Hate to see you sad. Yes, I know I'm crazy, crazy about you, crazy about you.
I know I'm afraid sometimes. I know I get drunk some nights. I know I get way too high. I just wanna live it up with you. I know that it might be tough. I know when you've had enough. It's just how I show my love. Darling, can I live it up with you? I know I'm afraid sometimes. I know I get drunk some nights. I know I get way too high. I just wanna live it up with you. Darling, can I live it up with you?
Made a mistake last night. Maybe I can make it right. Sit down closer, baby. We can talk about